Morning. It's a little dark out here. I'm trying out a new phone, see how well it does on video. So, what's wrong with the John Deere now is, in essence, the wheel motor on the other side did what this one did, and it sheared at the hub, between the drive shaft and the hub. This side I've welded. It took twice to do it because it's two different metallurgies. They didn't, so when I welded, I kind of dug in, made like, if the metals weren't joined, at least I made what would be considered little keyways by the way I dug my rod in and laid in weld bead. This side's holding. The 24-inch tires are okay. I want to shift. I did have to shift the wheel motors backwards. There's a second index of holes pre-drilled in the chassis for moving your wheel motors back, and there is enough slack on the hydraulic lines. Now, when I take this apart on the other side to see what happened where I've lost drive, where you can see the drive shaft on the wheel motor spinning but the wheel's not turning, more than likely it'll be like this side was, where the keyway on the wheel motor itself is so wallered out that it's not serviceable. So it's like just a quick repair to get a little more life out of it, and once that stops working, then it's time to replace the whole wheel motor or rebuild. And obviously, because the keyway was wallered out and now it's welded, it's a replacement of at least the center shaft, which is probably not worth doing. But the other thing that came up on the machine was the hydro belt went out, and I found it to be very laborious to change compared to changing the hydro belt on like my Hustlers. So this side I'm going to tear apart today. I just got a couple longs where I got to do the stripes and the dethatch rake, and you know what I mean. For the most part, I'm getting into my season. I don't really have time for that, and so I just can't. I can't keep doing that. There's too much labor. So I'll get this side done, and I'm using it on my personal lawns, okay, for my properties and for some select customers. So I'll get that done, and then I'm going to upgrade. I've had a lot on this machine. I've had a lot of problems with the lithium battery, and I'm not sure why. I'm going to go away from that, and also I had the second tank, and I had a reserve so that, like, if I ran out on one, I could switch to the other. But even as I don't like the small neck for filling, I don't like the size, the volume capacity, and what I'm finding in this machine in general is that it's too heavy on the front. The weight bias is not right. So I may go back to a lead acid battery, and believe it or not, I may go like the old Wrights and center locate a narrow battery in the back, and then the box that I create for the battery housing would have that receiver on top of it, because for the most part that receiver is low enough that I have to use a long step hitch implement. By putting that on top of a battery box, then it sorts out that aspect, in that it's then I can use more of just a straight cross hitch on it, and then also it puts a little more weight to the aft of the machine, which I think will help it with what I call reluctance to rotate, which I can't stand in a zero turn. If you're on different areas where you've got a lot of hills and stuff, and you're going up hills, then this might be a really well suited for that. But you see, I've lost some of my traction downforce when I took the side saddle tank off and moved to there. And see, so it wasn't really by relocating weight, it was kind of by eliminating weight, because you had the battery tray on one side and the fuel on the other, both heavy things. Now they've been replaced with things that don't weigh much. So absent taking more weight off the front, somehow the weight you took off the back now causes a difference in how the machine handles, generally speaking. So that being said, today's goal is to weld up that other wheel motor so that it's back in action. For now, I'll probably just run the battery and stuff, charge it up, start it. Then it's good for the day. And then I want to see if there's a little bit of adjustment, because with the 16-inch wheels on the front, I get in some rubbing on that side of the deck, and I notice there's heim joints under here, and I want to try to, since I moved it back, there's plenty of clearance, even with the 24-inch tires. If I can get a little bit of adjustment, even ½ inch, I can help myself out with that left side front wheel dragging on against the leading edge of the mower deck. So it's only on the certain situations where you make a certain turn that it kind of can get jammed up. But that's where I'm at with it. It's not my day-to-day machine. It does help me out around the house and the farm, and just doing my chores and not have to walk so far, and yarding my trailers about, pulling cement mixers, pulling pressure washers, pulling little wagon cart, things like that. It's great machine. As far as for some people, it's great probably for lawn service, but my thing is, where it shines for me is for a substitute or an upgrade to what we used to use and call the hand tractor, the little Gravely walk behinds or whatever. It can do a lot of that stuff and more and better, because you ride on it instead of walking behind it. And if you're creative with your attachments on grading and stuff, I can't say enough about how this machine grades, because you got direct response with a piece of C-channel and a lever arm to mount to these rear pivot points. It just, the way C-channel webbing lays it out, you have no artifact lines. It's just for that final grade pass, it's so much better than trying to use muscle to electronic to hydraulic to implement. This is just muscle, so you have instant reflex action, and you can use a momentum and feather it and sweep and swipe and just all kinds of things that you can't really do. Well, you can if but it takes more talent or something than what I got on, like either the Bobcat or the little stand on machines. You can do point grading and stuff like that, but it's just slower when you're using those, to my thinking. Now granted, with this you cannot skip load, and that's a problem. If you get your aggregate, like your 57 rock or your road base, dumped in one spot, that's not a big enough rear mounted blade to carry much material, and even if it was, you don't have enough mass with this machine to carry material far distant. So everything has its limitations. All right, you have a good day.